In this series, from 2D to 3D, we will transform a drawing into a three-dimensional component, create an assembly, and finally perform a strength analysis. On this tutorial, we're going to learn how to turn this 2D drawing of a flange into a 3D component. First of all, we're going to understand how this drawing works. In the top right of it, we have the isometric view, which helps us understand how the part is going to look like when we make it. Then we have the front view, the left view, the section view, and the detail view. We're going to use each of them to create our model. All right, so we're going to start by using the section views to create our part. So we're going to begin with the solid part, and then we're going to add the ribs, and finally, our holes of the part. So we're going to start by going in SolidWorks and then creating a new part. Just give me a second here. Okay, so we're going to create a new part. Click OK. And finally, we're going to go to Sketch and create a sketch into the right plane. Okay, so we're going to focus on creating a part that looks like this. When we create a section view, what we are basically doing is cutting this part in half. So we have the second view. In this section view, we have that it's going to be cut just in the middle of the rib. The rib, we are going to ignore it because what we're going to focus is on making this cylinder, and at the end, we're going to add each of these 4 ribs. Okay, so we're going to ignore this diagonal and we're going to make this form over here. So let's go to SolidWorks again. Let's go, and we're going to create, yeah. So we're going to create a line. Here, this part, we're going to start sketching like this and like this. Okay, so what I want you to have is this random form over here that it's going to make sense later. So just trust the process. And we're going to be aware that here at the bottom right of the screen, here where it says custom, we have selected inch, pound, and second, okay, because our dimensions are in inches. Once we do that, you can see it turns gray. Don't worry, just right-click on it and click on Edit Sketch. So you can edit the sketch, and now our dimensions are in inches. So we're going to start adding our dimensions to this part by starting with these 3 inches. But to do so, if you can see, let me write it for you. It has, if we want to create our cylinder by using this sketch, we're going to have to create an axis in order to the solid part to revolute around it. Okay, so imagine that we have here the axis. Now our diameter, it's going to be 3.0 inches, but our radius, which is from here to here, it's going to be 1.5. So when we go back here, we're gonna try to create that, we're gonna try to create that axis by selecting in this menu of line, a center line, and then clicking here just in the middle, and just creating a line over here, then click Esc. You have created your axis. Now we can use this axis to create our dimensions. So we're going to click here on Smart Dimension, and we're going to click on the axis, and then here in this line. And as you can see, if I pass my mouse through the line, I can actually write the diameter, not just the radius, so I don't have to make any calculations. So it is going to be easier this way. So I'm going to click here and click on 3. So now we have our 3 inches first diameter that we had on the drawing. Then we're gonna write our second dimension, which is 3.5. Now let's go back to SolidWorks, create another dimension of 3.5. Oh, sorry. As you can see here, I did it, but without taking the diameter into account. So let's go back a little. I'm gonna delete this. And we're going to create the smart dimension here to here. Then if I pass my mouse through the line, I have finally the diameter. And I can write 3.5. And then I have my first 2 dimensions. Now what I'm left is with these 2, which in our drawing, it says 4.0 and 7.5. So let's do that. Sorry, here to here, it's 4.0. And here to here, it's 7.5. All right, now what we're missing is just the depth of this hole, the depth of the part, and the final depth of all the extruded part, which we can find here in these ordinate dimensions, okay? So here, the depth of the hole is 0.5. So we're gonna go back and click from this center to this point. It's going to be 0.5. Now from the center, from, again, the center to this point, it's going to be, let's see, 0.75, 0.75, and the final length, it's 3.5. So we're gonna make from this point to this point, 3.5. And here we have our final part that we're gonna revolve and finally create our part. Okay, so here we're gonna go to features, then to revolve space, and our part will select automatically the axis of revolution, which should be this one. And then in direction, we're gonna click blind and 360 degrees and click OK. And ta-da, we have our flange. Now what we're missing is just the ribs and the holes, which are going to be easy because we're going to create a sketch here and we're going to use the rib operation here, which will make it a lot easier, okay? So we're gonna create a sketch. We're gonna click on a sketch. We're gonna display this menu and click on right plane. Finally, selecting a line, clicking here and clicking here, then ask. And as you can see, the point is coincident in this cylinder, and here the point is coincident in this face. So we're gonna create a smart dimension of, let's see our drawing, 0.75 from here to here, and 2 from here to here. Now we can make a rib operation by going to features, then clicking on rib, and here selecting that it's going to start from the middle, and in depth 0.5 inches, and finally click on yes. Then we're going to create a circular pattern. Here in the features tab, we're going to click on circular pattern. And when we want to select the direction, we can select the cylinder over here. And then here 360 degrees. And here we only have 4 ribs. So we're going to select 4. And that's it. Easy as that. So the last part finally is going to be to create the holes. So to do that, we're going to click on this face, right click on it, and then create a sketch. And we're going to make first a center line from the center to this point over here. Let me show you. Okay, great. And finally, we're going to create a circle over here. Another center line that goes from the point of the circle, the center point of the circle, and the center point of our flange. And finally, we're going to create another circle from this center point to the point of our hole that we're going to make. And we're going to right click on this circle that we created and make it construction geometry. Now that we have this, we can click on a smart dimension over here and add our dimension, in this case of the angle that we want to. The angle here is 22.5 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and do that. 22.5 degrees. And finally, we're going to add dimension here of 0.75. And here, the diameter, it's going to be, let's see, here it says 5.75, okay? 5.75. So we have our sketch fully defined, okay? Our sketch is perfect, so we can make the hole. How do we know the details of the hole? It says here 0.75 through all, and it's going to be 8 holes, okay? So here it's already 0.75. Now we're going to create extruded cut through all, here in this part through all, and then click yes. And now we know that we have 8 holes, so we're going to do the same as we did with the ribs, and we're going to create a circular pattern, but now we're going to have 8. Our direction is going to be this cylinder, and our feature is going to be this one, and we're just going to click yes. And that's how we finish our ribs. And optionally, you can add fillets, which I like, so I will, here in the operation of fillet. We're gonna click here instead of 0.1, 0.05, and then click on this face over here, and maybe on these edges over here. So we have a prettier part and also a part that doesn't have edges that could harm the person that manipulates the part. So that's great. And this is how you make a flange out of a part that has been firstly developed into a plane.